at the center of all love I stand, and from that center I, the soul, will outward move. From that center I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group and throughout the world. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group and
Good evening, everyone. This is Michael here in the Temple of Silence here in Finland, and we are going to have our meditation on attracting financial resources for the hierarchical purposes, especially, as we know, the externalization of the hierarchy and the reappearance of the Christ, familiarizing people with those ideas and familiarizing them with the ideas in a new way, new for them because so many people are bound up with the dogmatic approach, these concrete thought forms which have been extant for centuries, really, about how the Christ will reappear. And we need to change that and work on the providing of financial resources so this can be done. I'm remembering the Tibetan saying, well, people just don't seem to be able to give. And that is, a big problem. They don't seem to be able to give. So we have to change all that if we possibly can. And working behind the scenes, we can have a subtle effect. I'd like to read just a little bit from the reappearance of the Christ, especially from that section that is dealing with acquiring sufficient financial resources. So he's been telling us here on page 175 and 176 that, well, he says something like this: in the meantime, humanity starves, remains uneducated, and is brought up on false values and the wrong use of money. Until these things are in process of being righted, the return of the Christ is not possible. So that's where we were leaving off, and we'll do a little bit more. In the face of this disturbing financial situation, what is the answer to the problem? There are men and women to be found in every land, every government, every church and religion, and every educational foundation who have the answer. What hope is there for them and for the work with which they have been entrusted? How can the people of the world, the men of goodwill and of spiritual vision, help? Is there anything they can do to change the thinking of the world in regard to money, thus deflecting it into channels which will be more correctly used? The answer must be found. There are two groups who can do much: those already using the financial resources of the world, if they will catch the new vision and also see the handwriting on the wall, which is bringing the old order down in destruction. And secondly, the mass of good, kindly people in all classes and spheres of influence. Let's just highlight that. Catch the vision. Well, you know, that has a lot to do with what we do from behind the scenes. That vision is not only adopted for external reasons. Yes, we must speak of externally the possibilities, but there are meditative approaches behind the scenes which will help people catch the new vision, as DK tells us. Men of goodwill and of spiritual inclination must reject the thought of their relative uselessness, insignificance, and futility, and realize that now, in the critical and crucial moment that has come, they can work potently. Now, some 75 years, maybe a little less, has passed since this was written. And has the vision been caught? Have the little people of the world realized that they can make a difference, each one of them, if enough will simply believe that it is so and work accordingly? The forces of evil are defeated, though not yet sealed behind the door where humanity can put them, and which the New Testament foretold would happen. I mean, that's the idea that, you know, Satan, considered as the selfish personality, will be bound for 1,000 years. Evil is seeking every avenue available for a new approach, but, and this we can say with confidence and insistence, the little people of the world, enlightened and selfless in their viewpoint, exist in sufficient numbers to make their power felt if they will. So here the strengthening of the will is of the utmost importance. There are millions of spiritually minded men and women in every country who, when they come to the point of approaching in mass formation this question of money, can permanently rechannel it. Well, we know, unfortunately, this has not yet been done, and sharing is not yet the immediate response of nations with respect to other nations, and the peace, a sufficient amount of it, does not prevail, and corruption still persists. But the potential to do otherwise is still very much present. He goes on, there are writers and thinkers in all lands who can add their powerful help and who will, if correctly approached. There are esoteric students and devoted church people to whom appeal can be made for aid in preparing the way for the return of Christ, particularly if the aid required is the expenditure of money and time for the establishing of right human relations and for the growth and spread of goodwill. This idea of a permanent rechanneling of the flowing golden substance is of tremendous import, and the denial of futility. You know, the Black Lodge would have us believe that we are futile, simply because we are not necessarily in the halls of government and do not hold high position necessarily before the people of the world, but that is an attitude which must be dissipated, because it is a glamour, really, a glamour. A great campaign to raise money is not demanded, but the selfless work of thousands of apparently unimportant people is required. So let's really keep that in mind, because, we're liable to fall back and say, well, we cannot handle a great campaign, but then we're not asked to, and nor would it necessarily be as effective as changing the willpower of so many thousands, even millions of people who will be willing to do so under right instruction. DK goes on, I would say that the most needed quality is courage. It takes courage to put aside diffidence, shyness, and the dislike of presenting a point of view, particularly a point of view connected with money. There was a member of DK's groups. He was Alice Bailey's secretary, at least for a time. And DK complimented him. He was very second-rate type. Ray 2 soul, Ray 4 personality, Ray 4 mind, Ray 2 astral body, I think. He overcame his shyness, his diffidence, his dislike of presenting a point of view connected with money. So the Master is watchful for those who can overcome such a rather natural tendency for second-ray types. It is here, he says, that the majority fail. It is relatively easy today to raise money for the Red Cross, for hospitals, and for educational institutions, I would say, especially, for normal, accredited, accepted educational institutions. It is exceedingly difficult, he says, to raise money for the spread of goodwill, or to secure the right use of money for forward-looking ideas, such as the return of the Christ. Therefore, I say, the first prerequisite is courage. Well, next time we'll take up the second requirement, and maybe some of the other prerequisites. This is not an impossible task, and though much time has passed since D.K. wrote this, I'm sure, I feel confident that when he writes again toward the year 2025, he will be bringing up the subject. So this will be the end of our reading, and on 9 August 20. And let's see, beginning on 16 of August. And it will be a morning program, morning broadcast. Okay. Now let's see what we can do meditatively. As we follow, DK's instructions. These two meditations he gave in full in Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 2, the so-called money meditation, which we are doing now, and the reappearance of the Christ meditation, which we do every Thursday. Thursday because it's a Jupiter day, it's a second ray day. And Sunday for the money meditation, we're dealing with prana, with flowing golden substance which can animate those projects which must materialize because they are demanded by the divine plan. So the first thing, just to bring ourselves into a meditative position, outwardly at least, and then inwardly. And we remind ourselves, we realize this occult law that to those who give shall be given, so that they may give again. Think that through. And this is why the Masters have such a bounty of resources. Especially some of them, they have given so much that to them is given so that they can continue to give, and we need to find ourselves in that kind of state or position. Then we ask ourselves and formulate clearly in our own words the answers to certain questions. If money is one of the most important things needed today for spiritual work, what is the factor which is at present deflecting it away from the work of the hierarchy? Number 2, what is my personal attitude towards money? Do I regard it as a great and possible spiritual asset? Or do I think of it in material terms? Number 3, what is my personal responsibility in regard to money which passes through my hands? Am I handling it as a disciple of the Masters should handle it? it comes to the Hydra head that deals with the misuse of money, do I have an issue there? Am I successful in dealing with the usual glamorous and illusory tendencies surrounding the use of money? And you know, it's important for us to see through all the glamours and illusions that surround this issue. They are so strong, and it's the rare person that can avoid being affected by them. Now ponder on the redemption of humanity through the right use of money. And visualize the money in the world today as concretized energy, at present largely used for purely material purposes and for the satisfaction, where the individual is concerned, of purely personal desires. Now, visualize money as a great stream of flowing golden substance, passing out of the control of the forces of materialism and into the control of the forces of light. And then we say the following invocative prayer with focused mental concentration and from a heartfelt desire to meet spiritual demands. O Thou in whom we live and move and have our being, the power that can make all things new, turn to spiritual purposes the money in the world. Touch the hearts of men everywhere, so that they may give to the work of the hierarchy that which has hitherto been given to material satisfaction. The new group of world servers needs money in large quantities. I ask that the needed vast sums may be made available. May this potent energy of thine be in the hands of the forces of light. And then visualize the work to be done by those groups which claim your present allegiance. Any group which you know is attempting to carry out the hierarchical plan. And then through the use of the creative imagination and by an act of the will, see untold and unlimited sums of money pouring into the hands of those who seek to do the Master's work. And then we say aloud, and with conviction and emphasis, He for whom the whole world waits has said that whatsoever shall be asked in His name, and with faith in the response, will see it accomplished. And we remember as we do this that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And now we ask for the needed money for whatever cause or project it may be that we wish to support, because it is an aspect of the divine plan. And we say to ourselves, and then filling in what is blank, I ask for the needed money for, we name it. I ask for the needed money for, and I can demand it, because from the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. And then in our creative imagination, we prepare to give our offering to Christ. And as if in the presence of Lord Maitreya the Christ, we together say the mantra, "We have gathered in your name, Lord Maitreya. Be with us." And we offer our gift to the great Lord and to his externalizing masters and their initiates and disciples, all of which will flow into the hands of the new group of world servers and help to solve so many of the problems which face humanity at this time. We close with a sense, an internal questioning about our responsibility, in this case our financial responsibility to the hierarchy and its divine plan. And in all of this work, we have to be practical and realistic and realize that if we do not give, we may not ask, for no one has the right to evoke that which they do not share. We attempt to feel true love sweeping through us, and we establish the fixed intention to express that love to all whom we may contact. It is the great attractive and selfless agent in world affairs. We sound the Om 3 times, precipitating love wisdom into the worlds of the threefold personality. Close with the sounding of the great invocation, attending to its all-important words.